invest in the shares. On the Capital Point, we rely on data and insights from business leaders from across the economic divide who are at the top of the capital ladder so that your capital investments are well informed. At this time on Metropol Television.
Presumptive tax makes you come in the tax net in our database, in that we have tied presumptive tax to payment of single business permit. And the single business permit is collected by the counties. So presumptive tax is 15% of the value of the single business permit. There has been misconception outside there that KRA is double taxing the small taxpayers. I believe you've heard that. This is a total lie. It is propaganda which is meant actually to make the informal sector feel that they are being double taxed by the authority. You have also heard that KRA has introduced a tax that is crippling businesses. It is because of this misconception. So presumptive tax is an advance tax by the taxpayer. So if you paid presumptive tax today of 1,000 and your TUT for the month is 500, you will not pay KRA anything for the first month because you will reduce that 500 which you are supposed to pay from that advance tax you paid earlier. And you will still carry forward another 400 to the next month. So there is no double taxation there. It is just reducing your liability with what you had paid earlier. So presumptive tax, we are getting single business permit data from the counties. We have received from several counties. One or two are yet putting their records together to give us the data. So we are working very closely with the counties such that this becomes a success.
Are you tired of selfies that cut off half the shot? Or do not want to walk around with a selfie stick? Well, Epix is the solution for you. Epix is a pocket-sized, ultra-light aerial camera designed to change personal photography forever. Let's take it away. AirPix is a revolutionary device that allows people to take stunning air selfies, photos or videos, and claims to be the easiest and most affordable way to capture experiences while remaining immersed in one's life with no need for huge learning curves. Simply put it on your palm and slightly lift it up to launch the device. At only 80 grams, AirPix is pocket-sized and equipped with a 12-megapixel camera for photos and videos of up to 1080p resolution at 30 frames per second. It has 16 GB of onboard memory, supports gesture control, and can record videos in 360 degrees. There is an optional app available on Android and iOS devices that allow for one-touch autonomous flight, editing clips and images, adding filters and sharing to social media. The device is available in 4 different colors to suit your personality. Are you interested in one of these? AirPix retails at 9,995 Kenyan shillings on Amazon or their website airselfiecamera.com. For more tech features, follow us on our social media handles at Metropol TV KE.
Do you want to know what makes a business successful? Capital. It starts with working capital to fulfill your obligations for, let's say, 1 year. And when you're ready to expand and maybe you may not have the necessary resources, then you take on debt capital, which you can take from a bank or from somebody else if it's money. And when you grow and you want to expand your business even further, you could take on equity capital by listing your business on a private or public market, and then people invest in the shares. On the Capital Point, we rely on data and insights from business leaders from across the economic divide who are the top of the capital ladder, so that your capital investments are well informed. At this time on Metropol Television.
Good afternoon to you on this Friday, the 17th of April 2020. It's time for Business Spirit right here in Metropol TV, Kenya's 24-hour business channel. And my name is Nina Shaban. We begin with that Kenya has recorded 12 more cases of the COVID-19. This brings the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Kenya to 246. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe has announced that the new 12 cases were confirmed positive from 450 samples that have been tested in the last 24 hours. The CS said that among the 12 infected, 5 are from the hospitality industry, while 4 are from those who came in contact with infected persons. The CS was speaking at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport together with Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i and Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia, where they received a consignment containing medical supplies from China that will be used in the fight against the spread of the virus.
We have already tested about 450 samples. Out of these 450 samples, we have already got 12 positive cases, and we have not finished the day. And 5, for example, are hotel workers, and another 4 from our sampling, from our contact tracing capability. Just for the record, on this flight, we have been informed that we have got 500,000 3-ply masks. We have got 200,000 testing and sampling tubes, and this is a very important thing. These 200,000 sampling tubes are key to our ability to mass test Kenyans.
In other news, a new Geopol report that surveyed 12 countries in sub-Saharan Africa shows that 72% of the countries are very concerned over the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, with 63% believing that they and their families are at risk of contracting the disease. The study also shows that there is fear by countries over the impact of the coronavirus pandemic will have on their economies. 71% of the countries expressed concern about the economic effects of coronavirus, with worry being highest in Mozambique and Rwanda. Additionally, 26% listed economic impacts as their biggest concern of the outbreak, only slightly behind the 27% who state that the contracting their disease themselves is their biggest concern. According to the survey, concern is rife in Kenya over whether there will be enough food to eat due to lack of money or other resources. 80% reported that within the 7 days before the survey, they had been worried about not having enough food to eat due to lack of money or other resources. This figure was highest in the DRC at 88%, Rwanda at 87%, while Kenya and Uganda at 86%. All right, so the Kenya tea sector lobby has welcomed the proposed draft of measures prescribed in the crops tea industry, quote unquote, regulations 2020 to reform the tea industry. In a statement, the lobby has said the proposed regulations will help close loopholes that East Africa Tea Trade Association has failed to implement for years, exposing the Kenyan tea industry to exploitation by cartels to the costly loss of farmers. The lobby says Kenyan tea farmers have welcomed the proposal to have the sale of tea to the export market exclusively done through an electronic auction process that is auditable, removing opaqueness and loopholes experienced in the current trade. Under the proposed rules, all tea buyers shall pay in full for all teas that they win at the auction before they take custody and lift the tea for export, removing instances of a collusion between KTDA and farmers through credit sales, with some being written off as debts. The funds from the sale of tea at the auction shall be remitted directly to the respective factory accounts within 14 days from the auction date. Factories should be required to deposit at least 50% of the funds to firms' accounts within the 30 days from receipt of proceeds, with the balance being paid as bonus within the same financial year. Previously, KTDA would repay or rather delay the payments to farmers and place as interest-earning deposits with commercial banks. This practice is seen as the reason why farmers lost 4.6 billion placed as deposits in Imperial Bank and Chase Bank. One of Kenya's biggest trucking and logistics firms, the Metropol Hauliers East Africa, is facing the risk of being wound up. The petition for the liquidation of the company, which has been published in the Kenya Gazette, has been filed by Synergy Industry Credit Limited through Ahmed Abdi Nasir Abdi Kader and company advocates. According to the notice, the petition was first presented to the High Court of Kenya at Milimani Law Courts in Nairobi on the 9th of March 2020. The court directed the petition to be had before the High Court's Commercial and Admiralty Division at 9 a.m. on the 7th of May 2020. Well, that particular information brings us to the end of our business brief this afternoon. My name is Nina Shaban. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
When you hear the word business, what comes to mind? Skyscrapers, fast-moving economy, technology and innovation, dollar versus the shilling exchange rate, financial markets, or better still, the US versus China trade war? Is there a magic bullet that can spark Kenya into economic growth? How about this? How is Africa the next economic frontier? What does that even mean? Questions that keep popping up. Is foreign aid helping Africa develop, or rather is it stagnating it? Does good politics translate into economic development? Well, on Metropol Debrief, we break down business, telling you why it matters and showing you how and when it affects your bottom line. This and much more on the new season of Metropol Debrief at 8 p.m. where we're bold and balanced.
Ukiwa na shilingi 5,000 waweza fanya nazo nini? From street to street and from estate to estate. Tumekuwa tukiangazia biashara kadha wa kadha ambazo tumeweza kupata mawaidha hapa pale, jinsi ya kuwekeza na hata pia kuikuza biashara. Aha, ishakuwa. Haya basi wewe ungana nami Tabitha Muthoni ndani ya show ya Mwananchi. Show ni The Hustle. Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
Focus of body and mind is crucial for a productive day.
Work on the obliques.
We look at trends that affect your business day.
Who has a bird's eye view of the whole economy?
These are things that the government should be able to spell out for Kenyans.
An in-depth analysis of the markets.
Markets have been very fearful.
Deploy the capital into investment opportunities.
Business headlines covered extensively.
71 years.
Inspire the whole spectrum of entrepreneurs.
I maneuvered in the harsh economies and all that.
With financial and business literacy in a language easy to understand.
At the simplest form, contracts. The creation of the human mind.
As we look at the boss lady in her element as a woman and a boss.
That women can have access.
As we journey you through farms and produce markets.
This is money.
Taking a breather and even in that, learn a thing or two.
Global map of growth rates.
Taking a look at the business of entertainment.
Movies, fashion, beauty.
Following the money in sports.
Then you widen your stance.
Before switching off our mics and let you have your say.
The economy is undergoing a serious hardship.
Looking at technology as it affects your day-to-day business.
The customer will get notification.
This is Metropol TV.
Telcos, just as the name suggests, is a combination of two names, telephone company. A telecommunications service provider provides telecommunications services such as telephony and data communications access. The history of telecommunication dates back in the 1900s. The internet first became available in Kenya during 1993. Full internet access, however, was established in 1995. The first provider of web-based internet service was the African Regional Center for Computing, that's ARCC, an NGO based in Nairobi. In 2000, there were about 200,000 internet users in Kenya, with an estimated monthly growth of 300 new subscribers each month. The main users of the internet in Kenya are multinational corporations, international organizations, and NGOs. All the government's ministries, some public and private companies, are now accessible via the internet with the onset of the mobile phone. When we talk of the telco giants in the country, we can't miss to mention Safaricom. Safaricom was started in 1993 as a department of the former state-owned telecommunications operate Kenya Post and Telecommunication Corporation. In 1997, Safaricom Limited was incorporated as a private limited liability company with 40% ownership held by Vodafone Kenya Limited. Currently, Safaricom controls approximately 63.5% of the Kenyan market as at 30th of June 2019, with a subscriber base estimated at approximately 33.1 million.
Do you want to know what makes a business successful? Capital. It starts with working capital to fulfill your obligations for, let's say, 1 year. And when you're ready to expand and maybe you may not have the necessary resources, then you take on debt capital, which you can take from a bank or from somebody else if it's money. And when you grow and you want to expand your business even further, you could take on equity capital by listing your business on a private or public market, and then people invest in the shares. On the Capital Point, we rely on data and insights from business leaders from across the economic divide who are the top of the capital ladder, so that your capital investments are well informed. At this time on Metropol Television.
Special for today is stuffed chicken breast. Basically, it's chicken breast stuffed with cheese, bacon.
Hello there, welcome to another episode of Quick Bites. My name is Nina Siobhan. I'm sitting here with, not even sitting, we're standing, we're about to cook with Chef Andrew, and we are at the heart of the CBD right here in Nairobi at the Afterheart Hotel.
This is chopped garlic, just something like a half a teaspoon.
A teaspoon?
A teaspoon. Then, this is salt. A pinch of salt, just a bit. Kwa umbali kidogo, just a bit. Then white pepper. So this is a white pepper. This is basically for marination, just a pinch. And oil. So this is our cooking oil. This is our Elianto.
All right.
Yeah, just a bit. 1, 2 tablespoons of that. Okay, then we're good to go. So this is our marination. Okay, sorry, forgot to add in some soy sauce. And a bit of soy sauce, just to give it that color and flavor. Okay, there we go.
What taste are you looking after mixing all this? Why do you follow this particular marination?
Okay, you have to follow this marination, you have to follow this procedure because you need to get the taste of the chicken.
Okay.
Yeah, so without the marination, the chicken will definitely be flat.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So the next step is we add in our chicken. So this is our chicken breast, it's already buttered. You mix it in the marination. Yeah. So that's our marination.
It needs to fully consume everything.
Yeah. It has to. The marination has to be consumed in the breast so that you can get that flavor. Yeah. So that the marination can be absorbed into the breast. This is our beef bacon.
Yes.
Just tap it a bit. You just lay over on top of the chicken breast, lay over the bacon.
Okay.
All right?
Just once?
Just once, yeah.
Okay.
Just one strip of bacon. Lay it on top of the chicken. Then the next process is cheese. So this is our freshly grated mozzarella. Eh? Yeah, this is fresh. So you sprinkle it on top. Sprinkle on top, on top of the bacon. So beef bacon. So some olives. Those are olives, black olives. Right? So those are black pitted olives. Then we are good to go. So definitely whatever you're going to get here is basically Italian, Spanish, so that's where we're headed to. So we are trending. Yes. So we have to keep up with the time. Huh?
Oh, keeping up, Chef. Keeping up.
Yeah. So okay, now we have to throw on top some basil, just to give it that flavor, just to give it that touch. Okay. So this is fresh basil, it's fresh from the farm. Yeah. So expect the flavor that is gonna come out of here to be perfect.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so this is our final process. Then you fold it around. That's the procedure. So all the ingredients that we put here have to be, all the content has to be wrapped by the chicken breast. Then the next process is you roll it over. Roll it over. So we baked in the oven at a temperature of 180 degrees for around 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is our oven.
My husband doesn't like it.
It seems like it doesn't like you. So in our baking tin, you just put it inside, then in the oven.
I don't know why I was of the assumption that it was going to the fridge first.
No, it doesn't need to go to the fridge.
Managing your finances starts with questions. Where do I put my money? What opportunities are available for my money? What ratios should go into savings, spending, and leisure, if you may? Now, trying to answer all these questions can sometimes mean you have to understand concepts like savings, loans, forex, stock markets, and sometimes politics, and honestly, sometimes it can get a bit overwhelming. On Eye on the Money, we take you through intelligent investment and finance management decisions so that you keep track of every coin that comes out of your pocket.
Ukiwa na shilingi 5,000 waweza fanya nazo nini? From street to street and from estate to estate. Tumekuwa tukiangazia biashara kadha wa kadha ambazo tumeweza kupata mawaidha hapa pale, jinsi ya kuwekeza na hata pia kuikuza biashara. Aha, ishakuwa. Haya basi wewe ungana nami Tabitha Muthoni ndani ya show ya Mwananchi. Show ni The Hustle.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
There's no news story that is in touch with the needs of the audience like a business news story. Therefore, as a business anchor, it is in my mandate to understand the source of the story and, most importantly, consequences of the story. Which means before I take that script into my hands, I have to be close to the story. I have to experience the story. Or simply, I have to leave the story.
It is Friday, the 5th of July, 2019. It's 1 p.m., so welcome to Metropol News at 1.
My name is Nina Shaban.
When you hear the word business, what comes to mind? Skyscrapers, fast-moving economy, technology and innovation, dollar versus the shilling exchange rate, financial markets, or better still, the US versus China trade war? Is there a magic bullet that can spark Kenya into economic growth? How about this? How is Africa the next economic frontier? What does that even mean? Questions that keep popping up. Is foreign aid helping Africa develop, or rather is it stagnating it? Does good politics translate into economic development? Well, on Metropol Debrief, we break down business, telling you why it matters and showing you how and when it affects your bottom line. This and much more on the new season of Metropol Debrief at 8 p.m, where we're bold and balanced.
The entertainment industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. But the question is, how can you get a share of the pie? On E-Magazine, we follow the money behind the glam and break it down for you, making sure you get a share of the pie. Catch E-Magazine at this time only on Metropol Television.
Each year, we outline critical strategies aimed at boosting the manufacturing sector through the Manufacturing Priority Agenda. The main reason we remain committed to this continuous process is so that our stakeholders, and mainly government, understand our dedication to providing practical solutions to the problems facing our country. Industry is currently operating in a very constrained fiscal environment. If we're able to achieve even 50% of our industry asks this year, the change in the economy will be immediate and far-reaching. Ideally, progressive tax policies are meant to create an environment for industry to thrive, and for this to happen successfully, tax measures need to be easy to effect, coherent, and predictable. The need to be designed to complement the overall economic ambitions of the country. However, so far, most tax measures specific to industry have not achieved this. And this is not an opinion by manufacturers alone. Last month, Stanbic Bank discussed their managers' index on manufacturing, observed that many manufacturers are opting to leave the country for better alternatives in the region. Their biggest pain points being an unpredictable environment and increasingly unplanned taxation. The government also suffers because revenue collection continues to be hampered, thus constraining the fiscal space to undertake development projects. And this has also been emphasized by the Parliamentary Budget Office whilst unpacking the 2021 budget policy statement. we need to urgently rethink our economic trajectory, a swift about turn to prevent further decline and to start stimulating growth. The solution lies in giving business room to do business, and the country needs to create a space that provides the much needed stimulus for industry to grow, become competitive, and increase productivity.
In the beginning of the 20th century, feminism finally began to make real changes in the female working climate. Prior to this time, women owned businesses only if they were in dire straits, those without husbands who did not want to become social burdens. These businesses mostly included brothels, taverns, and alehouses. At the turn of the century, progressive ideals gave rise to a social sphere that was much more conducive for female business owners. In the early 1900s, female entrepreneurs such as Madame C.J. Walker, Coco Chanel, Olive Ann Bitch, and Ma Parkins got their start. These powerful women established their own brands and fought tooth and nail for success in the face of discrimination, unfair wages, and stigmas plaguing female business owners. The 21st century has seen an upsurge in women entrepreneurs. However, female business owners still face wage and gender discrimination and fewer opportunities than their male counterparts do. Still, women are making major impacts in the media, business, politics, and more.
You've got to be so disciplined. People say you're obsessed. You've got to be so obsessed that you actually get results. And then those same people would be obsessed with asking you how you did it.
Let them call you obsessed. Obsessed gets results. Ease does it. Every now and then does it. If you want results, you must be obsessed.
You've got to work so hard and be so passionate about what you do that people think you're crazy.
You got to be so in love with your work that no one understands. They'll certainly understand when you show them your results. They don't have to understand. Let them remain confused. Confused by your obsession. Shocked with your results.
You have to have a laser-like focus. When it comes to getting what you want in life, you have to lock in and find a way to make it happen. It has to become your obsession. You have to be desperate for it.
If you don't care enough about your goal to make it your absolute obsession, you'll never achieve it. If you don't care about it enough to think about it every spare moment, to obsess over how you will achieve it, to learn how you can achieve it, if you don't care that much, you don't deserve your dream.
How bad do you want this dream? What are you willing to do to get it? How many hours are you willing to put in? How many no's can you take before you achieve your goal? How many failures can you fight through?
I don't care how many obstacles get in the way of me and my dream. There is not one that can stop me because I am obsessed with making this happen. There's no plan B. Plan A is my only plan. This goal is my only plan. I must make this happen. I will make this happen. When I start, I do not stop. When I get going, I must finish. And I must finish first. When I do anything, I must do it better than anyone. I am obsessed. I am never satisfied. Never content. I will not accept average. I will work until the outcome is mine. I will go above and beyond. I do not believe in limitation. I do not see lack. I see a goal. I develop my plan. I dive